I think. Perhaps. 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 Yep. Okay. Live. Doo doo doo. Oh, yeah. It's oh, things and stuff. We're just gonna give a second here for everyone to show up, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome to January's live chat. Uh, we will get the fact that this is actually up and live posted around on Discord and stuff so we can get even more people probably to show up. And we will then kick things off. But welcome in. We've made it through 2022. The revenge of 2021, the revenge of 2020. I have a feeling there's a lot of revenge going on. It's a good time for the revenge business, I hear. So, so we are experiencing small technical difficulties, but overall we are good. We do have somebody here. Okay. Can you spread the Twitch link at least around for me on Discord and stuff? So, man, only 7 people here. It's the smallest live chat I've ever had, guys. Thank you for coming. It feels very, very special. No, Holly, you're just a difficulty. Not very technical. You're just a difficulty.
Wow. How insulting.
She knows.
She's helping you a lot, dude.
A cat is always a difficulty. When is a cat not a difficulty?
Just a difficulty?
She's also a really nice person too.
I can't do Facebook. I'm not logged into Facebook. It's gonna take me a minute to get logged into Facebook.
Uh, both of my cats have jumped to Holly's rescue. So brat cat. I think isn't every cat a brat though? I guess every brat isn't a cat, even if that's at. Hmm. Well, at least you love them. It's okay not to love me. I'm used to that, especially after I've been unthinkingly insulting. So there we go. We're finally getting people in. So thank you everyone for showing up. I have already wedged my foot firmly in my mouth. You can go back and watch it later if you so wish. If you are joining later, the back of my knee tasted very nice. Probably should have used a little more mustard though. So welcome to January 2023. Things are staying in line with the rest of the decade so far for some people. Um, we'll go ahead and do the recap, and then we'll do the recap, and then roll into your guys' questions. So remember that remember that I will always be behind in chat because I try to make sure I get every question that I can see going up, guys. So news, of course. AR6 was published right at the end of November. It did what we would expect from Aethers. Um, a slight drop off, not surprising. Complete change of pace with that book, honestly. Since the schooling is now over and it's on for life experience out in the field going forward. Book 6, of course, was all about training with the men to get ready for what would be coming in the future. The The harem was not together often, um, but they did have moments in it. So it's going to be even more different in seven when we get to his adept posting. But something to look forward to. Of course, the biggest news is the fact that Antecedent's Legacy will release on the 18th. There is a pre-order up for it now. I've sent out the mailing list email. It's been posted up in like every place. So for those people who want to jump on a pre-order, go ahead. Looking at the numbers so far for the pre-order, I probably never do one again. Honestly, it's been okay, but I don't see the pre-order as something big to help draw people in after as I've looked at the numbers over the last week and a half of it. Um, so yeah, I'll probably never do another pre-order. For those people who've always asked me where pre-orders are, I haven't done them in the past really. I had a few from way back, like early in my career, but I probably won't do any going forward. Um, the excitement around it is it's there. We've hit at least triple digits for pre-orders, but it's not something that I think is going to make a big difference. I'll be interested to see what it does to rankings when the book finally goes live. But yeah, it hasn't done a lot. The only reason I've been able to do this is since I had the book written early last year, just set aside waiting. So getting it edited and then waiting for it was easier. But no, I didn't. I didn't break 100,000 pre-orders, Xerox. I don't think I've ever sold 100,000 of any one book. That would be amazing, but it's probably not going to happen considering the niche that I write in. Um, so I probably won't do another pre-order. We'll see what rankings look like when the book comes out. But yeah, you guys probably will never see another pre-order from me going forward. But Antecedents Legacy, which is my sci fantasy series, as I like to call it, will be uh will be going out on the 18th. The pre-order is up for those people who want to jump on it. We just had Lux Voice 5 audio drop yesterday, I want to say. Maybe the day before. Might have been as much as 2 days ago. But it was like really recent. So there is that to get us caught up with where Lux Voice is currently in the series, which is very nice. And I have assurances from Andy that I should be getting the audio for Binding Words 9 to go over sometime this week coming up, which means if I do and I turn it around like I normally do, and then she gets the corrections turned around like she normally does, that somewhere probably in the first week, uh, first week or two of February, that will probably go out, and then we will be fully caught up on Binding Words audio as well. And then, of course, February is when Andy is slated to record AR6 for you all, um, which means probably a month and a half after that for turnaround, because recording takes a couple of weeks. Her editor takes, a week or two to get through it. I proof it for a few days. She corrects it. We give it to ACX. They hold on to it for 2+ weeks. So just the long and short of what you might be looking at for for rough ideas. I try not to give firm dates on anything audio because we're always at ACX's mercy for that, which is terrible, but it is what it is. Um, so I think that was kind of a very round way of saying things. So let's try condensing that down for you guys. AR6 doing good. Audio will be recorded in February. Um, Lux Voice 5 audio just came out. And I think we also had, I don't remember now when Aether's Revival 5 audio hit. Was it before last night chat? we've had a slew of audios released recently. The last though was only a couple days ago. That was Lux Voice 5, and then Antecedent's Legacy, which the first book of that series is Antecedent's Legacy. I made the series and the first book of the series the same damn title, so maybe we don't end up with quite as many people asking about the Morgan's Bidding series when they mean Binding Words, because Binding Words is the series, Morgan's Bidding was the first book. I thought we'll give it a shot. We'll see if it helps. Um, but you can always just call the series out because it's Antecedent's Legacy. I might have a sense of humor. It's probably only funny to me, but that's okay. I don't mind. And so now I will go ahead and start perusing through chat. So I hope you guys have been busy for me, so we can kick things off. Okay, quite a treat. With Andy, yeah, having Andy on was a whole lot of fun. Um, I'll probably talk to her, try to get her on for another one in the future at some point. But I mean, her schedule is kind of busy. The only reason I was able to get her on is because it was right during that right near that winter break she was starting up. So I mean, it just kind of worked out. You should consider having guest authors on from time to time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are a few I would probably kibitz with, but I don't know if I'd have them on the live chat like this because this live chat is normally my way of thanking you guys for being fans. I mean, it makes sense with Andy because she's the main narrator I use, but I'm not sure if another author would really work in this space. I mean, doing like an extra one-off. Hey, I'm having a chat with Joe Kuster. What I don't know how to say his last name. Kuster, Custer. Pretty sure it's Kuster. Mm, Joe will probably correct me at some point. I don't think he watches these though, so it won't be today. Uh, uh, don't defend Holly because brats need no defense. No, I've already dug my grave there, Jell. I'm not. I'll defend her now because I've already died on a hill. I wanna try to have some redemption arc in there while I'm at it. Uh, let's just start stock picking questions. How are the pre-orders going for the new book? I've kind of answered that. I mean they're good, but I don't know. I don't know what I really expected out of a pre-order, honestly. Um, maybe my pre-order numbers are really good. I'd have to compare with another author to really find out. But I think it's probably okay. Just I don't know what I was expecting exactly, so it's probably hard for me to gauge things. But honestly, I dislike pre-orders, so I dislike the idea that okay, everything's done. I'm gonna hold on to this, and then I have to remember to upload the finished product by X date so you guys can have it. Now that I'm actually ahead of you guys by a book, um, it would actually become easier to do pre-orders because I'm not like, okay, just barely got everything back. Let's go ahead and publish now. So, I mean, before it wasn't really an option outside of just holding on to the book even longer. But now that I'm a book ahead, I could do it. But I'm not sure if I not sure if I will. Era 6 is one of your better books, believe in it. Oh, I do. Um, I'm I'm gonna call you MV because I'm gonna butcher that any other way, MV. Um, I do believe in it. I've loved everything I've ever written. I've believed in every book I've ever published, including Resurrection Quest, which proved that some things you believe in are false things. Um, but I mean, the story for AR is what the story is. I'm not gonna go out of my way to try to change it just because something didn't work the way people expected. I don't write to what people want. I write to what the story tells me to. Just finished the new Lux Voice audio yesterday, and always excited for whatever is next. I mean, I understand, Joe. The next audio will be Binding Words 9, though. I've already pre-ordered Antecedents Legacy 1, not something I do often. Well, I appreciate that, MV. Like I said, I know that most of my readers are Kindle Unlimited readers. I know that. It's a fact. I can look at the numbers and know it's a fact. So I'm not terribly surprised about pre-order numbers with that as the basis for things. I think the people who are always going to order the book have probably pre-ordered the book. Most of the rest of what I see will be Kindle Unlimited numbers, and then the trickling sales is paydays come in and people go, oh, I have the money now, I can pick that up. So yeah, see, Darth there was there probably because more people read through KU. That's correct, Darth. Doesn't a pre-order prevent you from releasing it early? You're you're actively lying to the fact that you're going to have a pre-order because they want the book a minimum of 3 days before the publishing date. So like the 18th, I would have had to give it to them, the completed file, the one that is being published. That I cannot change it again until after it's published. On I think it would have been Saturday at hang on, like 4 p.m. my time because it's quote unquote midnight GMT, which I think is 4 p.m. Pacific because I think it's an 8 hour difference. With daylight savings time, it's a 7 or 8 hour difference. So we can be safe and say it would have been 4 p.m. yesterday is when I had to give them the file. Oh, things locked up. That's not there. It goes. Give them the file for it to be published on the 18th. I have to check since it's up for pre-order and it's locked. I wonder if I can go in and get X-Ray done early. X-Ray, the feature where you guys could tap a name, like Fiala for Lux Voice, and it should come up with a little blurb that I've typed in. Um, I mean, it's the first book of a series. X-Ray shouldn't really be a thing for it because it's the first time you're meeting all of these characters. Um, Second books and on, yeah, you totally want that so you can refresh who's who if you don't remember. But I want to check. I want to see if that's a thing. If I can start up X right now. That's something I had not considered before. That I should look at. Maybe it's something to do after the stream, after I've collapsed for a couple of hours into a people coma. At least I said coma and not comma, because it was a near thing. Uh, I'm corrupting people to your books as fast as I can make friends, which isn't very fast. That's okay, Joe. Even one other person introduced to the books who has enjoyed those books is something to be thankful for. So I appreciate it. Well, for what it's worth, I always imagine your book selling for like 100,000 or better. Uh, but that might just be a dream. I love all the audiobooks I've heard. Yeah, Xerox. I really wish that were the case. I can tell you right now, it is not. That would if I was selling 100,000 books, like within the first even year of anything launching, that would that one book would make my entire year. So would be nice. Sadly, is not factual. I introduced another person to your works. It was a funny run into the conversation, though. Oh, I'm sure it was Jazz. I mean, not something you could probably slip into casual conversation and make work. Honestly, it would have to be kind of niche. Oh, you read? What do you read? Well, I just can't be like, yeah, I visited mom. While I was doing that, I was totally reading this harem story. I mean, It seems like maybe take a little more effort. Lux 5 audio was great. Bloopers had me laughing. Andy does great bloopers when her recording system doesn't delete all of them. So, because that has happened a few times. Just make a middle-aged female protagonist with an all male harem of 6 foot muscle people and market heavily in Utah. Boom, New York Times. Well, actually, that's just reverse harem, and reverse harem is a major thing. Most of that is urban fantasy and romance, and they are well known and accepted in society. Harem books, not so much. You have not missed this, Lost Phoenix. Welcome in. Uh, AR5 audiobook is out. Came out late December, so yeah, I knew I was gonna get there. Likely ban Evader restricted. I've never seen that comment before. I have to laugh. You are about to release a mecha series and a new MechWarrior game just got announced. I mean, I'll take a little bit of serendipity, but I would like to say I had insider information on this. But honestly, the first book of Antecedent's Legacy I was writing last January. I wrote it January, February, March last year during my downtime when I would normally be reading or playing instead, more words onto paper. So it just was always going to be, well, I have to wait for another series to end, and I had really thought that was going to be Binding Words because it's the one that's closest to its natural endpoint, with only a few more books left in that series probably. But Dungeon Walkers has filled that role instead. Any future chance of crossovers with so much world hopping? It isn't outside the realm of possibility. I don't want crossovers, Archron. um, I don't do crossovers. To do crossovers correctly, you have to be able to connect things in a nice, smooth, seamless fashion. Arand does crossovers, and it's probably one of the better people I've ever read who does crossovers. Um, Arand, William Arand, Randy Darren, R.A. Rend, I think was his other one, but that one wasn't tied into his other series. Um, Myself, I won't do them. I don't I just tell you what my characters are doing. I don't plan and plot and try to have interconnected things. I would rather have my little Easter eggs about somebody having read one of my other series instead, because that to me is more fun and amusing. Having Andy do the narration Xerox is something I'm happy for. I give her first right of refusal for every audio, because she'll do amazing. She has already agreed to do Antecedent's Legacy for me. She actually believes she'll be recording that in February along with AR6 guys. So she will be like fully caught up on everything she could record for me, like come the end of February, because Dungeon Walkers, when it gets released, is going to be Stephanie Savannah, through Mountaindale Press, who handles that. So um, Andy is going to be doing Antecedent's Legacy for me, which means all of my current series after Dungeon Walkers stops with the next book will be being recorded by Andy, and it looks like she's catching up. She'll have caught up on everything backlogged for me by then. So something to look forward to. I really look forward to her dealing with some of the alien names, as were mentioned in the live chat I did with her, when she has to get to them, because apparently I am a mean, sadistic bastard, and have done horrible things. There might or might not be fact in that. Joe Custard. You know what, Serenia? I'm probably going to take that as canon now until he corrects me. I am going to call him Joe Custard. Yes. I'm sorry, Joe, but you're a delicious, tasty treat. That that sounds bad. Hang on. Let's have some coffee and think that one through. Would you ever get another narrator like Tess Irondale? She did like 6 year books. Like I said, Andy's gonna get first right of refusal for everything I've done Xerox. After that, then it opens things up again. But I hope that Andy will continue to do my books forever. But we will see. I think Daniel's tales work better if he doesn't do crossovers. CMV, I'm kind of with you there. Would you go back to Tess Irondale for Apocalypse Gates 9? Um, I mean, yeah, probably Xerox. I would if I was gonna do that, I'd want the continuity of it. Like if I ever go back and pick up Dungeon Walkers after book 4, I would I would be I would go to Mountaindale Press and Stephanie and be like, hey, I'm picking the series back up. I would like her to continue it again. Just for continuity. Nobody likes changing narrators. The audience doesn't care for it. The narrator and an author don't care for it. Just sometimes life happens. How many books were ever bought for your bestseller? I actually don't know, McKnight. I'd have to pull up the giant Amazon spreadsheet and go through it, honestly. And they only go back. They changed over how they record stuff. A couple. I want to say, well, they're still in the process of betaing, but that beta only runs back like a couple of years of files. They don't go like all the way back to 2016. So would I don't know. I want to say my best selling book to date, like in a 1 month span, for the first month sales, um, is either AR1 or AR2, and I think that's only because it both of those I think eclipsed Alpha World 4, which had been holding that title. Um, yeah, I want to say it's probably AR1 or AR2, but like actual hard like ordered sales, I don't know off the top of my head. Best-selling series overall, I want to say that with AR6, I have probably met all of Alpha World through 8. Going forward, I say it's probably Aether's Revival, like all-time bestseller for me series is going to be probably Aether's Revival at this point because I want to say 6 we've caught and surpassed. Um, like I said, I'd have to sit down and go back into the old information because like most of Alpha World's numbers aren't in the new reporting system that Kindle Direct Publishing is using KDP. Um, so I think I think I have to break down the. I'm never going to do that. I keep an eye on last book release just to make sure it's kind of in line with what things should be, and that's it. I'm not like, oh, well, that doesn't compare to when I released AR1 back in blah 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 blah. I don't mean like an entire crossover book, but just like a quick moment, like an MC dreams of meeting another MC. The only thing I've ever done like that, Archon, was my mailing list short, which I keep saying one of these days I'm going to update that because that actually got written. Whoo, wow, back in the day. Let's see. I think the characters in that were Last Horizon, Alpha World, and Apocalypse Gates. Um, yeah, it was just those 3 series. I want to say. I don't think Binding Words was. I don't even think Binding Words was in that mailing list short. So I probably should go back and update. um, the mailing list short, because it was what you it's what you're talking about. It was a crossover, funny mashup kind of thing. Um, and I keep telling myself I'm going to find the time to do that. I never find the time to do that. But at this point, I probably should because people who are joining my mailing list now are probably like, who in the hell are these characters? Because all those series at this point have been stopped. Whoopsies. If I do another one, maybe I should do like just the I was gonna say I should do the wife ensemble to have them like debating, but whew, some of those series are quite robust in the love interests. That I don't think that would be a mailing the short story anymore. It would be a novella and or novel all on its own. So I don't know. It's one of those. It's an idea that I've tossed back and forth, and one of these days I might get to it. I just know I haven't yet. I really liked the call out of binding words in Lux Voice 5, and that's about all I get into Klee. Um, just little nods. Oh man, I really wish I could make an air conditioned car right now because it's summer and you're wearing a heavy wool suit in a society that doesn't have things like central air. It's amazing we did. I mean, there probably were a lot more heat strokes at the time, or the beginnings of heat strokes. I mean, just the thought of a heavy wool suit in 80-degree, even just 80 plus degree low-ish humidity weather. Oh, oh, that's terrible. Now, the opposite of that is also true. That same suit in like October, November, it's probably got to feel pretty damn good because at least it's heavy, it's thick, it'll help keep your warmth in. But in the summer, oh gods. Hey Shadow, I am okay today. Thank you for asking. Um, the beginning of the year has been decidedly unpleasant for one of my editors. Her computer has had issues. Some of those issues have continued to plague her today. One of our cats had a breathing emergency right at the start of the year as well, with her asthma kicking up into overdrive. So the beginning of 2023, looking like the rest of the decade so far. I'm hoping we can slowly start to turn it around here as the year goes on because that would be nice. Pre-orders would make it so I have to remember to not do it so I can still do it on KU and then purchase. And fair enough, yeah. Like I said, I firmly believe that things will be basically normal when the book launches. I'll have that slew of KU reads, um, which is roughly what I expect. Like I said, I think the people who jumped on for pre-order were people who were always going to buy the book when it released. Um, So they just got it ahead of time and are just waiting for it to pop up. The only plus side to the pre-order is that it drops like really, really early on the 18th, like possibly around midnight, 1, 2 in the morning on the 18th, depending on whatever time zone you're in. Because I know like people in Australia long we're on the West Coast. So I mean that's maybe the only upside to a pre-order. Yay! Some minor good news. Woo! Take the wins where you can. She's already pinned on somebody. Yeah, I saw the message this time. Trying to sell me subs because that's what I need. I need people who have no idea who I am showing up to listen to me ramble. That would go well. Let's do that. I'm sure the jarringness of me rambling about stuff is what everybody needs in their life. If they don't read my books, I mean, the only reason you guys are here is you read my books, and you're like, we want to listen to this guy make a fool of himself. Let's go watch that. Random people don't want to watch me ramble. Ah, I noticed that the video is a little more like glitchy this time. Is that me, guys? Just curious. Hmm. Well, I'll find out when I eventually get down to your questions, because I think I'm like 20 minutes behind. Only 20 minutes behind early in a live chat? Wow. With 38 of you, I thought I'd be like buried in questions already. So that's hmm, interesting. I just went to pre-order it and have discovered I already have done so. I mean, that is one of the also one of the downsides to pre-order Lost. Let's be honest. I have done that. Which book did I just do that with? I think it was He Who Fights with Monsters 9. I think. Because I read 8 and the pre-order was there, so I pre-ordered it. And I think somebody recently in one of the discords that I occasionally troll through mentioned that the pre-order was up, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go pre-order that. I was like, oh, I already have. Heh, okay, so I understand that. I'll totally jump on this. Oh wait, I already have. See, if for me like pre-orders, this is like a week and a half pre-order, and even that to me feels like it's a little too long. So like the ones who have the pre-orders up for like 2, 3 months, I'm like, I forget the book is coming out until I finish whatever I'm reading on my Kindle at the time, and then go to pick up another book, and it's like new. Oh, I didn't realize that had come out. I pre-ordered that like 3.5 months ago. Eh, maybe I'll do it now, or maybe there was something else that I was really looking forward to that's gonna slot in ahead of it now. I think it's also a danger to pre-orders. Hmm. It's the pre-order stream. I think that's what we're here for. You are you? I mean, yeah, you should be. You're like a stealth cat, Beans. Wonder how far behind. There you are. Okay, I was about to say. So that's why the audio looks the video looks a little off to me because it is a little off. We had a small black plushy cat on the cat tree for a moment. Uh, how long in advance do you start planning a new series? It's a decent question, Shadow. Um, I don't, honestly, normally. Planning is something I'm terrible at when it comes to books because I'm just an after action reporter. Um, I knew that I was going to have one of my series coming to an end early last year. And the sci fantasy series, Antecedents Legacy, had been pounding on me to write for years now. And I was just like, you know what? I know I'll end up publishing it. It does mean giving up my time to like start in on it. But the need to write it just became so incessant that I was like, okay, I'll do it. So actually, the first 2 books of Antecedents Legacy are already written. Not the second one isn't edited yet, but the second book is written. Um, so I did that for like most of last year. I wrote 2 extra books on the side, eating up my gaming and reading time. Um, so I don't really plan like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's always been what's the loudest voice in my head when I know I have a gap coming up in my schedule. So like depending on Lux Voice, if Lux Voice 6 bombs on me because 5 dropped off more than I hoped it would. Um, I already know where Lux Voice 6 is. I know what I could do with Lux Voice 7 if I have to. I hope not. I hope Lux Voice continues on like it has. Um, but if I had to wrap up Lux Voice, like I already have another couple of ideas in my head that would be more than happy to tell me more about them, so I could slide them in. If Lux Voice stays where it is, and Binding Words is the next series to conclude naturally, where I don't shorten something on it, um, then I would probably when I'm getting ready to write the last book of that series is when I will let one of those other ideas really start to bother me enough to get out. So I hope that answers the question. Fun new thing with new series: a new Skippy to watch die a horrible death. Can't to see, can't see, can't wait to see. new ways you come up with. Well, Rodriguez, I appreciate that. For those people who are absolutely jonesing for a preview of Antecedents, the first chapter is up for free. It's open to the public, free. You don't have to join my Patreon to read it. You can read the first chapter over on Patreon. Jump in, have fun. If you want, what am I up to? I'm up into the teens at the very least for preview chapters. If you join as a Patreon, you could get a jump start on the book. Um, when tomorrow is actually the last preview chapter for Antecedents Legacy. I have to actually pull them down on Tuesday, so I'm in compliance with Kindle Unlimited when it publishes on the 18th. Because then on the 19th we start the preview for Dungeon Walkers 4. So but the Skippy thing does happen fairly early with Antecedents Legacy. I try not to drag any of them out anymore. I think the one I got away with longest that was a surprise to everyone was in Binding Words. Um, Other than that, the longest Skippy we've had alive was the original Skippy back in Alpha World. The original Skippy that started it all, that people wanted to see die so many times that he has now become the running death of the Shinhofen verse. Does a map of Aether's Revival exist? Trying to trying to place where each city town training area is would be easier with visual aid. I am sure it would, Archeron, and no, it does not exist. You see, because once it's on a map, it's set in stone. I have a rough mental image of how things are, but I get a little bit of wiggle room because I've never committed them. Um, so no, there isn't one. I will not commission maps. They'll never be exactly what I want them to be. So I'd rather just leave theater of the mind for people who want to try to imagine what the map looks like for themselves. Hey Magnus, welcome. I'm glad you I'm glad you're awake for once to catch live early. Like I do try to change the time. It might be. Let's see what's in. I've actually scheduled these out ahead of time for once. February is going to be 3 p.m. Pacific. This is all Pacific time. And then I'm going to do a 7 p.m. in March. So as you can see, I try to adjust the time so different people in different places can make it. So like 10 a.m. This is a great time, especially for my people in Europe, because this is what like 6 p.m. across the pond, I think. So it's a nice evening live chat for you guys. It's really early here in America, or it's afternoon for some of America. Um, but like the 7 p.m. one, that would be like 4 a.m. for people across the pond. I mean, that would be waking up really early to try to catch that one, for instance. But would be a lot nicer. That's a nice evening chat for most of America instead. So I try to do that to make it nicer for more people to show up. I like your concept for the X-ray. Lots of authors link the name to a bitty dialogue which does nothing to remind me of the reader who the characters. No, I mean that's what X-ray should be for. It should be to remind you. Fiala, cat bestial, first wife of Doc. You know, uh, uh, off the top of my head because I don't remember. Blue eyes, black hair, ears and tails of her cat bestial heritage. Just that little thing to help like drag your mind back to it. Sonia, dwarven female, Doc's second wife, brown eyes. I think she's also black haired. She might be blonde. I think she's black haired. I don't positively remember. So I know I got blondes in Alan Leah. Uh, Hazel eyes with jade eyes. I try to give you at least the description and then maybe another snippet. When you go to like the off characters, Herod, Doc's dwarven bodyguard. And then to help jog your memory, see the name Herod, you're not like, hang on, who was Herod again? You can click it and be like, oh yeah, that's Doc's bodyguard he's had since Deep Gulch. Something to remind you. What's your opinion of AI art? I mean, It's a very touchy subject. AI anything right now is a very touchy subject, Xerox. A lot of AI anything generated is taking content from other people as their default and then changing it in a different way. So it's it's a big contentious issue at the moment for creatives. Right now it's artists, but soon it's going to be authors and narrators as well. Those are both being hard worked on in by some people. So I mean, I feel bad right now for artists who are finding their stuff stolen by AI to be slightly modified and then shown to people, and I feel bad for them when they can't quite get the same commissions anymore because people rather just use AI generated art. Was rocking your shirt at MagFest and Interdupe that words are hard. Introduced a group to the series. Which shirt, right? I'm curious. Which shirt? As I always like to say when people are like, "Which series of yours should I start?" It depends on the series you're interested in. Because I have a zombie apocalypse, western, Celtic mythology, cultivation, death game, uh, psychological MMORPG. I have such an eclectic range of stories that which of yours should I start first really comes down to, well, what kind of thing are you interested in first? They mentioned the phrase sharing is caring. I mean, if they did that, Jazz, that's a nice easy segue. Well, since you're mentioning sharing is caring, you don't write harem stories. You write good stories with harem in them. Fair enough, Rob. But honestly, since the harem is in them, it does limit the pool of who is going to read them. I can't think of the number of negative comments I get for the fact that it's the fact that, oh my god, how dare I have multiple romances in the series. So, yeah, at the same time, so anyway, I introduced AR into a conversation because we were talking about harem polyamory in media and how you write some of the best harem stories, if not the best. I very much appreciate that, Magnus. I don't know if I would ever say I do that. I write harem. I don't think I would ever be like I totally write the best harem, because that's a level of ego I don't have. Um, I know that I write good character stories. I will stick with that. I feel very positive in writing good character stories. The fact that there is romance of multiple people in those stories, I think is just an added bonus. Um, I have put down a number of books because the author has refused to address in any way, shape, or form a romance that totally should have taken place. Even just a, a, a monogamous relationship. I mean, the author will write in some of the flirting and the back and forth, and you'll see that there's something, but they refuse to ever actually address a relationship happening. And I'm not talking about explicit or anything. Just the fact that, holding hands, looking at each other over a cup of coffee with fond smiles of the night before. Just little segues to let you know that yes, these are people and not just cardboard cutouts in the sphere that most people want to find in life, which is love. Most people would like to find someone to spend their life with. You want someone that has enough interest in you and your hobbies that you can talk about them with them. So I find a little aggravation when series completely disregard something that should happen. Um, when it's just a flat relationship, I have no problem with that. That's fine. Um, but since I've had poly in my life for years, um, It's just what I would prefer to write. There's nothing wrong with loving more than one person, no matter what society tries to tell us. Uh, I always enjoy the parts in Luck's voice where I can point out various things from alternative Colorado. I mean, fair enough, Clee. You probably enjoyed book five then. Since there are no known locations there that will that should have popped up in your mind. Um, I always like the references in your other books series instead of crossovers. I mean that's what I liked. Some of them are a little cringeworthy, all in all, and yet I still giggle about them. The two guards in Binding Words 9. If you're an audio only person, this isn't going to break the story. There is something that happens, an event, and Sean shows up and he's talking to two of the guards who happen to be on scene, and their names are Greg and Gunner. And one of them mentions the fact that it would be nice if they could see the future. Just saying. I find those hilarious. I know when Andy records them, when she was recording some moments, she'll also laugh. Like when if somebody mentions something like about a god, it's not like the god will just show up and Andy will segue for a moment into, and that's when Sean stepped out around the rock. Hey guys, what's going on? Because it's humorous if you read all the series that it's like if there was a crossover that would what somebody asked for God. No? Okay, I'm just gonna go back and have tea with the wives then. Okay. Amazon's data on book sales goes back to 2015 now, or at least it did. Well, look at it. The I don't know about Amazon. I'm talking about KDP's beta version. If that actually goes back to 2015, it didn't last time I looked, but that was, I think, half a year ago or more. So my money was going to be on AG Book Two being your best-selling book. Yeah, no, Xerox. You are my most avid Apocalypse Gates fan. I will I will say that. Oh, Jerry's Adventure shows up. Hello, Millhouse. Try not to challenge a dragon and get eaten again, okay? Okay. It threw me when the narrator changed for Divine Dungeon series. The first four were Vicus Adams. The last one was a different guy. I missed the voices I got used to, especially the ladies. I mean, it's fair enough, McKnight, but once again, that's one of those things where life probably stepped in and happened. So, wow, the lag time on the video for me is worrisome, honestly. Hmm. Well, I don't think there's a problem. I think we're still good. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep talking, even if my video is like frozen in place. Sure, it'll be fine. Is Dungeon Walkers going to be a soft ending? Yes, again, Dungeon Walkers 4 soft ends Dungeon Walkers. It could have gone longer. I always had another way to soft end things if needed, but I don't notice anybody chatting in the current like live chat part of things. Crap. I wonder if I am frozen. Can someone just type something in chat for me real quick? Cause that's concerned. I mean, the time says it's still going, but I haven't seen anybody comment in a while. Cause
He's saying slow, not frozen.
okay, My one editor says that things are still okay, but I was concerned. But yeah, Dungeon Walkers 4 will be the soft end to the series. So, yeah, because my video's frozen up.
Just slow, not frozen.
Because all I have is the spinning wheel of doom on my screen. Oh, oh, just gonna pop over to this real quick. Says live. Oh, it says it's still live there. So, of course, I just got a text message from a friend saying that it crashed out for them. So, hmm, did it crash out for you?
No,
Because it crashed out on my end.
crashed.
I just got a spinning wheel of doom, and I haven't seen anything. So I was gonna go ahead and reset and
Ellie said she would let us know.
10:35. See, I didn't see any of that. So I was gonna go ahead and refresh my server, and then scroll back up. Maybe no.
Can
Oh, so everything from 10:35
done.
to 10:48, guys.
Give me a second. I can go get you a transcript.
Um, yeah, my side locked up, so I had to refresh the browser. So yeah, I have lost things. I've lost like 14 minutes of questions from you guys. So if you guys can scroll back up to things you questions you might have had between 10:35 and 10:48, that would be great because I don't got them anymore. Okay. Do you have merch? Rob, the limited merch I have for sale at this point are the t-shirts. You can find them on ChinHofenBooks.com. They are not in every size at this point because I only do one run of them, and then I'm done. So I have I still have a lot of Alpha World shirts because I was probably a little too generous back when I first had shirts created about how much people would want them. Um, I know my Binding Word shirts. There's a very limited selection of them left at this point. Most sizes have been cleaned out. So AR question: Greg and his men will be on their way out to the edge of nowhere. That's a question that'll get answered in coming books, Farstrider. I don't want to. I don't want to finish reading the question or give the answer on the chat. I will just say that will be answered in the future. Uh, Certain mage powers help with those issues. Look at how fast the elders are able to move. Plus, there are spatial mages. So yeah, I don't have what. Oh, hang on. We're gonna have things. With the rotation schedule, we're averaging out about roughly 2 books per series per year, right? We get about I publish 6 to 7 books a year. 7 seems to be about my average. Woo! Sorry, my editor is being nice. She's gone back and copied questions out for me. So I'm going to be using. I'm going to be looking down at my phone for a little bit as I try to go back and answer all these guys. So yay for us! I average about uh 7 books a year published, so it's almost 2 books per series. Um, thinking 3 books every 2 years is probably the best way to consider how things are going to go, Ron. Uh, Pre-orders drop at midnight. Author's time zone. Everyone should limit, but everyone should experience the rambling about harem. I mean, right? So that's where we first people said that things were a little glitchy. When I noticed the first long load, um, I was hoping we'd have more release AL for the weekend since I have Monday off. Now I had to sneak reading it while at work. I mean, yeah, that happens, Far Strider. The release at this point, the release time is the release time. I just changed my cell. I thought it was the home internet. I'm here because I want to live inside the world you created, and time between books means living in the real world. I mean, fair enough, Archgron. I don't blame you. Yeah, it looks like it. Trying to avoid asking questions that will cause you to give out spoilers. I mean, fair enough. I do have an extensive back catalog. If you still have questions about them though, I can't bury you in questions while I'm listening and driving the truck. Fair enough, Alpha. Please concentrate. Please concentrate on driving. Please concentrate on driving. Uh, I'm on my phone at work and it's raining here, so it's always been an out. At least it's not like the time I double pre-ordered a model kit and ended up paying $200. Ooh, lost. That would I can see where that would be awkward. Drive by hello, as I have a D&D game starting shortly. Just wanted to say how much I enjoyed the most recent Aethers novel. Looking forward to the Antecedent series. Well, thank you, Morgan. I hope you have a good game. Uh, have you given any thoughts to doing a get together during 20 books this year? I have not yet. I know 20 books is, I want to say it's November. Uh, so I will probably slap something together later in the year because I normally go in and have dinner with some of my fellow authors that I want to see who make it. So, hey, look at that! I got replies to people who won coins last time that I was waiting on replies for. I will totally make sure I get those out, guys. Thank you for finally replying to me. I have been waiting. I want to be responsible and give you the rewards that I promised. I promise. Uh, he pulled a Brian Sanderson on us. Yeah, kinda. But I'm not anywhere near that popular, so I would like to make, what was that, $20 million for a Kickstarter or whatever it was? Something insane. That would be nice. I think I'd be okay with that. I'm just saying. I reread all of Binding Words in the last 2 weeks. My feelings and guess is that there are only a couple of major plot points left to touch. My guess is that True Strike won't take 3 books to finish. I mean, 2 to 3 books, I would say, is what's left in the Binding Word series for the plot points I have out there. Of course, I've been wrong on how long it'll take for some things to happen in the past. You can look at any of my series and know that. So, but I would say that is probably very accurate. I love that you have preview chapters on Patreon, but I'm too much of a binge reader for them. Fair enough, Drigas. Have you ever thought about making a Death to Skippy challenge coin? I have not, Yakban. I try to keep them series specific. Can I note that your world in Aether's Rebirth is strangely sized? The Vellum Empire is far larger than any empire on Earth, has managed to stay for more than 60 years at most before they start to shrink. Yeah, they none of those empires also had an undying emperor for 2,000 years, or 1,000 plus years either. So yeah, it's easier to keep something going if you have the power to enforce it and the lifespan to enforce it. So Um, Sorry, also said the same thing. A very powerful magi who's been alive the entire time. I mean, yeah, fail traditionally been due to travel communication times. It's hard to get your military to a border. Yes, but when you have weapons of mass destruction, aka magi, who are posted to various cities and towns along said border, then it's not like you're waiting for, four contingents of men to show up. You probably just need two or three people who one of might have spatial transport to port those weapons of mass destruction to an actual war zone. If it's just a small border clash, which is what most things start as, the one or two magi there are going to be more than enough to handle it. But yeah, yeah. So, meh. Evening, Daniel. At work at the moment. Wanted to pop in and wish you a happy and successful year. Thank you, Ghosted, and I appreciate that. Uh, um, okay, and then that gets us caught up to where I had been. So, okay, good, good. I can turn all this off now. Okay, okay. I can go back off of Twitch again. Uh, I can stop looking at my phone, guys. Sorry for looking at my phone, but I wanted to get the questions. Yeah, the only people who can actually post links to places are the moderators. When I describe your harem, I explain it's more than sex. There's consent, there's respect, and there isn't meaningless sex for sexy. I mean, fair enough, great. I like to say that the intimate scenes serve a purpose. They're not there just to titillate you. Though there is plenty of harem out there that you can sink your teeth into for that. You talked about the issue with authors not addressing relationships. I agree. I stopped reading one author because their main character seemed unable to realize that they had people looking at them romantically. It's not uncommon for someone not to understand the fact that somebody might be interested in them, but at some point, I want to say at some point, most people will eventually make an overt. It takes two completely oblivious people for that to happen. I've gotten a couple of people hooked on your books, some with the story, some by mentioning the Kiki stuff. I mean, fair enough, Lost Phoenix. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say my books don't have the Kiki stuff. They obviously do, but once again, it's just what I know. So one thing I like most about your books is that the story and romance doesn't end with a marriage. I hate how often modern media carries on the will they, won't they too far, and then they end it once they eventually get married. Um, Fair enough. I mean, there is something to say for the back and forth. That is normal in modern media. Um, my displeasure though goes the other way when they take a story that's had its moments and continue to want to drag it out further. Um, for me, Castle was that way. Like the last season or two of Castle, I loved the show. I liked what they did. I liked the back and forth. Their relationship was just flawed on so many levels with their personalities, but overall, there was a connection between them that worked. But the last two seasons, it was like, well, we've done this thing. We've addressed the major issues that started the series. Kate's mom, uh, Castle's backstory, which is only hinted and alluded to for most of the series. Um, but the last couple of seasons were just like, okay, we're gonna keep adding stuff. And that's what bothers me. Every story should have its end, and you should respect that ending. I liked in AR when Greg mentions to Shun that it isn't like he can see into the future to know what might happen. Well, I mean, he does have limits. He can't see forever into the future yet. So, isn't that why she made a damn it DJ button? I mean, for Andy, yes, she has a damn it Daniel and damn it DJ button because I do things like then and then, or accidentally doing Ryan and Ryan in Binding Words. My editors are now hyper vigilant about helping her on that front. I checked KDP earlier during this live chat. My account to date goes back to 2015 now when I first published a book. If you're using just the older model for reports, I think it does. Last I had checked though, the new beta system hadn't pushed back that far. If it does now, that's great. Because there are some numbers I wanted to go back and look at, but I really didn't want to have to drag through the old system. Dropping the resolution helped with the video issues. Okay, well that's good. That would be. I think mine's based off of something. I don't know. The narrator change in AG has been. I would 100% disagree with that, but nope, your head moved. Okay, so this is where I caught up, where I was having issues with things. Okay, great, great guys. I am only like a dozen minutes behind you now. Ha! I am gonna catch up before 2 hours gone. It has been over an hour though. I should recap things. So, brief recap, guys. AR6 was the last book published. It did what we expect out of Aethers. Um, the audio for it will be done by Andy. She will be recording it in February. Um, in other audio news, we had Lux Voice 5 drop just a couple of days ago. Some of you have already blitzed through it. Um, once again, I think Andy really brings characters to life with the way she performs an audiobook. Excuse me. The next book up, as you can see there on the lower left, January 18th, up for pre-order already, is Antecedents Legacy 1. Antecedents Legacy. That is my sci fantasy series. So expect hand wavium technology, such as smart artificial intelligence and nanotech and spaceships and mecha and fantasy such as succubi, kitsune, vampires, and pseudo dryads. So my normal mashup because just using one thing is never enough for me. I like taking different things and pushing them together. I've done that with most of my series to date. And then after AL1, currently March 23rd, it's not going to be that long. I'll update that projected release date later. Will be Dungeon Walkers 4. Dungeon Walkers 4 will be the soft close to the Dungeon Walker series. So, put out the lasagnas. The cursed Garfields have arrived. Yes, she did. She put them out. The creepy, creepy meth cats are now on the tree. Ugh. Okay, I think, yeah, we're good. Ogre pulled an Alvin and found a glitch. I mean, happens. The Matrix glitched, guys. We're sorry. We need to punish Twitch for misbehaving during chat. I mean, yeah, good luck. I'm here because I want to live in the world. Okay, yeah, I said that one. Okay. Are you ever going to join us in the Ark Survival Evolved? I don't know, Jerry. That would require time. So possibly, I would also need to download the game. So I can give you possibly. That's what I can give you. Alpha, it does seem like you might have that. Xerox has been the most outspoken Apocalypse Gates fan I know of. They're here most live chats, and most of their questions revolve around Apocalypse Gates. So okay, and I said the live chat at 20 bucks. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Hang on, I'm catching up, guys. I'm catching up. But why is only one AR planned for this year? It's just gonna be the way that things fall, sir, sir, Sherf. Um, Antecedents Legacy January, Dungeon Walkers 4, because you can always look about 2 months out. Um, Dungeon Walkers March, May would be Lux Voice, June, July would be Binding Words, August, September would be AR, November would be AL. So if you look at that, and then I very well might be able to slot in another Lux Voice if I get the 7 books published in the year. Um, at the most, if I pushed for 8, which I have done at least once, you would get another Binding Words. You just wouldn't end up with another AR this year. Um, but it does mean you would end up with 2 next year. Like I said, 3 every 2 years for any given series is 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 more average than anything else. I saw in some of the Facebook groups someone talking about water magic to manipulate blood. What are your thoughts on that? I think that would be more healing magic than water magic. Yes, blood has a lot of water in it, but it is distinctly not blood anymore. It is blood, not water. Um, Also, then you get into the fact of what you can manipulate inside somebody else. Healing magic works as easily as it does because people really want to be healed. Somebody fighting you trying to use magic on them is different. Now, forcing air into their lungs, that's one thing. That's an outside stimuli affecting them. Um, but changing something inside of a person would be much harder if they were actively against it. What do we have to do to get you to run a D&D game? The whole Wizards of the Coast thing notwithstanding, I just don't have the time. Xerox, I don't have the time for it. So there's not a whole lot you could do to get me to do that. I just time and effort is something I just don't have. Especially if you guys want to continue to get the books you're getting. Uh, just finished Advent Healer, sitting on coals now, waiting for AL. Well, I appreciate that, Widowmaker. It's nice to know that you're waiting for Antecedents Legacy. Depending on how fast you read, though, you do have a few more days. You could probably push another book through there. Uh, okay, I have to ask, what's your favorite mech in BattleTech universe? For me, it's the Stone Rhino Behemoth. I really don't have like a go-to. I when I played, I vastly preferred to mod anything I was going to be in. Um, they all the standard mechs, fresh out of the box, basically. This variant of this variant of that. Um, they all had to me glaring issues. There is none of them that right out of the box. I was like, this mecha is just going to be amazing. I can't wait to play it. Um, so I can't really. There's not one. Yeah, there's not one mecha that I would say I fall back on more than any other that I just absolutely want to play. I would vastly prefer to mod the fuck out of anything I was going to be piloting. Um, I want enough sustained firepower that I can be a problem at decent ranges. That's what I want. Most mecha are not built around their heat sinks. If you alpha strike in 90% of the mecha out there, you are going to spike so high that you have a chance of blowing up internal ammunition. To me, that's bad design. If you're going to run something that can do that, it should be predicated off of these are my 2, 3 long range weapons, and these are my short range for when everything gets inside of those. Um, this is a mid to short range fighter, but you can't use all your weapons. So so I don't have any one mecha that I'm like, oh, this is totally the one that I want. I religiously refresh my Twitch for about 24 hours after these lives to make sure I don't miss a message. Fair enough, Archeron. Some people are just busy. I just got the two I had back. I had one from November that just contacted me, and one from December that contacted me. And I don't mind getting those out. I had somebody from not recently, a couple of months ago, get back to me after like 5 months of not having heard from them. And like, dude, I'm really sorry. I didn't know I was supposed to check this spot for this kind of thing. Is it still possible? If not, I understand. And I sent it off to him because I want you guys to have those things. You came, you interacted, you helped make these things what they are. You helped make these live chats what they should be, which is a give back to you guys. So I don't mind if it's a little late, but at the same time, when I have, for instance, the Facebook giveaway where I have signed books to give out, I had enough signed books to give one away to everyone who entered. 26 people. I think I have sent out 7 of them. I posted. I rebumped the post and I posted for the people who cared. Hey, if you were one of the people who entered this, I need you to contact me so I can get your mailing address so I can give you your books. That's been weeks now, like 2, 3 weeks since that's been done, and I think I still got like 18 or 19 of those books still on my shelf because those people have never replied to me. Like obviously they were interested in the idea of a signed book. They entered the contest, but I'm not getting answers back from them. Mm, so eventually, I'm sure somebody will contact me. But that's one of the few contests where I might be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I gave that book away to someone else because you never got back to me. It's if it goes a couple of months, that I'm just gonna have to revoke the prizes. I hate doing it, but I can give that away to somebody else who might want it instead. I've now got my coin and am sitting on signed copies of Binding Words 1 through 5. Back when I used to give away whole signed series, which I don't do anymore because some of my series are lengthy and doing so hurts me. Like literally, getting all the books, signing all of them, and mailing them all out is a bit much at this point. Will you ever publish an art book? No, Xerox, I probably never will. Binding Words is my most repeated series on Audible. Thank you. Thank you, Winowmaker. I appreciate that. It means the characters have resonated with you enough that you're willing to keep listening to the same series over again, and I really appreciate that. I just bought the Alpha Company member T-shirt, trying not to spend all the money at once. Fair enough, Rob. I can understand and appreciate that. How did you bring in the new year? I can just picture you swimming with your women in a giant Scrooge McDuck pool of money. I mean, Xerox, I like how you think my life goes. I would like it to be a tenth as amazing as you think it is, in the way of how much money you think I have. That would be amazing. No, we stayed at home. We have a dog that's terrified of fireworks. The weather here for the Fourth of July, the weather here for New Year's. Sorry, fireworks made me think Fourth of July. The weather here for New Year's was cold, rainy, and windy. So we stayed in, and the people who did go off and light off fireworks in that dismal weather, we had to make sure the dog was okay from. Do you and your family do New Year's resolutions? I don't. I mean, I'm going to do the best I can through any given year. The most people's New Year's resolutions fail because they don't really push on them anyway. It's one of those things that's supposed to give you a jolt to start doing something, and then most people fail within the first month. So no, I don't do New Year's resolutions. Ooh, added a blocked term. Wow. You would think the clans would control where the students get posted, with the overseer telling the clans you have this area to cover. I mean, part of that kind of gets covered in books 5 and 6, Raininator. So to remember that the overseer is a sage, one of the few remaining in the empire. I mean, just under the power of the emperor himself. I'm not sure. Even a clan has to respect that, because most clan leaders aren't of equal power. So yeah, well, fair enough, Darth. I mean, yeah, I'm only like 10 minutes behind you guys at this point, Magnus. Asking me a lot of questions is not a bad thing. If you have a lot of buffering under the settings pop up, okay. Uh, the two cracked out Garfields on the cat tree. Yeah, they're called Garfields. If you go and look on Amazon for them, the meth cats. Just read the reviews. They're hilarious. The meth cats, because that's what they always looked at to me. They looked like they were just out of their mind on meth. DJ, if you had to travel into one of your stories, which would it be and why? I mean, it depends, Magnus. Are we talking about a vacation? Are we talking about I'm going to be isekai to them? And then either way, am I going to have any of the powers that my main characters are blessed with, or is it just me, the schlub here, rambling at you? Because those questions matter a great deal to influence what and where and how and why. I can't wait to see how you use hand weavium to get past the unobtainium. Well, first we're gonna conquer a planet of people who use their tails. That way, never mind. Would you ever do ranking systems of the different MCs for least to most OP? I mean, it would depend where in the story, where in their series they are, Archon. I mean, like Sean Book 1 is nowhere near as powerful as he is Sean Book 9. So it would really depend on where in any given series you're pulling the MCs from too. Oh, look at that. Mom and Dad say hi. Hi, Mom and Dad. Does your head feel less crowded now that you have let the giant mechs out to play? No, no. Having story ideas is never a problem. I have lots of them. I have I have written a couple of chapters of 3 different ideas um in the last couple months of last year, just because they're like, "Ooh, hey, this listen to me." And I gave them a couple of chapters each. They're solid ideas. I might go back to them when I get another spot, but I don't have a spot in rotation right now, so I cannot let them consume me. I know you tried to stay to the four book rotation, but what other book ideas are rattling around in that head of yours? Too many to talk about, Outlaw. Um, having ideas is never a problem. It, I don't know if I'll ever run out of ideas. Ideas that you guys care enough to read, that might be a different thing. Um, but I have too many in my head to talk about. The last few that I've given a couple chapters to, just to calm them down enough to be able to focus on what I'm trying to do, was a System Apocalypse where the main character was a blue chef. His class was basically chef, but he was a blue mage type chef. The other one was more a straight cyberpunk, and then the last one was more of a uh, magical twist on cyberpunk. Which, if I was gonna pick one of those three to run with next at the moment, it would probably be the magic cyber. Than any it'd be more magic punk than anything else, I think. Um, because out of those three, that one has a lot that I can play with. The other two were more standard. So I mean, cyberpunk by itself is a well known genre, and at this point, a system apocalypse setting is a well known uh, genre building on its own. So without some other twist, um, they lack the flair that I really enjoy when I'm writing. So, but none of them is going to get anything until I have another spot open. So the winners were posted to the end of it, Drigas. I made a post on that giveaway. These are the winners. These are the books you won. Please contact me. Please message me on Facebook if you're one of these winners. So at some point, will signed books of yours go up for sale? No, Xerox. I'm not. I won't sell them. The only way you'll get a signed book from me is if I do a giveaway like this, or if you have copies of the books and you find me at a convention and ask me to sign them, and that's gonna be it. It is interesting how each series speaks in such a different way. Last Horizons is for when I want a comfortable blanket. AR is when I'm looking for more motivation to improve myself. Those are the two series I can relate to the MC the best. I mean, and that's fair, yeah. Every series should be different in its own way. Last Horizons is my ode to old gamers, basically. So in AR, I keep waiting to hear how the clans make money outside of the merchant and mercenary clans. I mean, they all make money in similar fashions. Outlaw. It's just a matter of who is controlling what. If you're controlling all of one kind of trade, then you're going to be known more as a merchant clan than anything else, honestly. And most clans at this point are splinter clans off of other clans. It'll be interesting to find out how many sages and divine magi our hermits are in hiding. For the Empire, none. For the for countries outside of the Empire, mm. The problem is I can never think of what to ask. Most of my questions would fall into the realm of spoilers if you answered them, so I just quietly speculate. Fair enough. I mean, I can't fault that. That's totally fine. Isekai, you have the chance to gain powers like anyone else in that series would. Hmm, it's a tough one, Magnus. Um, at that point, I'm probably going to fall back to safe territory. I'll probably fall back to like Alpha World. It's an MMO, it's an MMO series. So things are going to be mostly balanced, and I already know how to cheat the system to a degree because I wrote the book. Um, but the rest of them are not places where you want to be a normal individual. I mean, for Aethers, you have to hope you're a magi if you want to have any standing, or you hope you're born into a wealthy family or something. Um, and barring those two things, hope you don't piss anybody off. Um, so I mean, Lux voice is based on the Old West, so there's there's some nostalgia that would be nice to go back for there. But I'm also a creature of comfort, if you haven't guessed from my staying in shape form of round. So I'm not sure I want to live in the Old West in that regard. Um, yeah, I'd probably just that if I'm not a main character special person, I'd probably fall back to something safe like Last Horizons or um, Alpha World. Where would a Norse gate have opened in AG? Someplace that it would make sense for it to open. So, where do you think is likely for a Norse gate to open in the world? I'm past my age day, so I wouldn't want to go to AR. I mean, see, Archron has a really good point there. Has to be wonderful to be your parents' favorite son. Well, I'm their favorite child. My mother just doesn't want to tell my sisters that, so she calls me her favorite son because I am their only son. This way, my sisters don't feel hurt. That's canon as far as I'm concerned, and I will ignore anything that tries to change my point of view on it. If you'd like to write a few chapters and put them up as an audition, I mean, I'm sure people would enjoy that, Dragus, but probably will not do so. I mean, you could be Isekai as a baby. All that, see, that once again changes where you might go in some cases, Magnus. Um, but it once again, if you're just going to be as average as anybody else with the same chances as any normal person in that world, I'm probably gonna stick with the safe choices. Are we going to get more Portal Fantasy? I'm assuming there's no Portal Fantasy in Antecedents Legacy. You would be wrong, Widowmaker. The very first chapter has the Portal Fantasy happen. The main character is pulled out of the known into the new. If you want to read the first chapter of it, like I said, it's up for public consumption on Patreon. Uh, if you ever write a book with a chef MC, I would gain so much weight just editing and reading it because your books always make me hungry. I mean, it depends on what he's using as food, right, Seridia? I mean, because blue mages normally get their magic by subsuming something else. So it depends on exactly how he's doing that, wouldn't it? Starting a series, do you usually have an idea of how many books that series will be? No, Mom, no, I don't. Don't ask. I thought Alpha World would be 3 books. 8 books probably should have been 9 books later. I put the series down. Shadowrun style would be nice. Kind of sick of what the current story is pointed. I would love to see a new take on the genre. I mean, that's basically what what the idea was. Magic and cyberpunk mashup is kind of a Shadowrun esque idea. I think my idea faded slightly more heavily towards the magic than technology, though. So, wouldn't Greg technically be a sage in hiding since he's on track to hit the sage level? Um, I would say he's more God in hiding, but Magnus. I would say he's more God in hiding. See, somebody else said the same thing. And the cats go away. Meth cat, meth cat. There they go. What series would you be if you could be any one of your main characters? Mm. If I'm just stepping into the role, and I know the story stays basically the same, so I know the love interest, I know what's going to happen and stuff. That's still not an easy choice, honestly. Um, I mean, hell, even Apocalypse Gates, Gothy is literally the mashup of two women I've loved in my life. Um, it's a wonder that I put together to make Gothy. Um, so AG kind of has a big place because of that. Words because craft anything you think of, and magic is predicated on just sheer willpower. Um, and just the sheer love he has around him in that series is make would also make it a really hard choice not to want. Um, Aethers to a degree has the chance of being amazing, but the shit he is going to have to deal with down the line to make the world a better place is actually one of the ones I would step back from. I would probably say either Apocalypse Gates or Binding Words if the story if I was just being transplanted into one of those main characters and the story was staying the same. If the story wasn't staying the same and I was just picking up the powers and stuff of a given MC and then forging my own way in the world, I would probably take Sean. I'd probably take Binding Words just because the options for that as a base are broader. One part of me likes that his progress is limited. The other parts of me is like darkness. Open up the floodgates and see what happens. Um, probably I probably wouldn't go the way quite the way you think, Archeron. He is he is not strong enough, nor does he have enough support around him from strong enough people at the moment to take on an emperor. So I mean I remember a review from Aether Survival 2 where he's like, well, how come he's not just like gonna he's not already a god and challenging the emperor? I'm like, it's not that kind of story, dude. But if you don't want to answer, let's see. Lux voice. I'm just waiting to see if a new deity is going to be gracing one of the characters. I'm wondering if Doc will manage to rescue all the women that have had soul shards implanted. Binding words. I think I figured out who or what Sean might be and how it plays out, so I don't want to say much. AR, in rereading it out of Greg, has read about Krog and Aether, and the stories were varied. I was thinking that Kroga, I was thinking of Kroga's hatred of Magi. I mean, those are all things to point out. Um, there are some answers out of that list that are coming up soon. Um, who or what Sean might be though has been fairly, I want to say, has been fairly standard, straightforward of an answer. How he is going to deal with what is coming is more of a open-ended question, in my opinion. I've got guys. I've caught up. I've caught up, everyone. There's only a couple questions here. I thought it would be funny to see one of the Norse gates open in Minnesota Vikings Stadium. Imagine the reactions of the different gods to the Vikings mascot would be entertaining. I mean, fair enough, but it doesn't. The Viking Stadium doesn't have for me enough of a tie-in to for it to work. That was the idea of a Norse gate is something that was set for the European um, arc of the story that I'd originally thought of. Did you guys purposefully place Garfield so he is creepily staring at your chair? I mean, she might have, but honestly, Garfield, the meth cats, just creepily stare all the time. Depending on where they are, it's just a matter of where they're creepily staring at. On the cat tree, they really only are going to stare at the screen at the back of my chair. So I had a question about Muldoon and AR. The kids get salted caramel from Muldoon. When the mages are in Muldoon book, the food was bland. How do you get candy out of a country with bland food? Um, Accidental making of it. Just because there's a difference between a dessert and a thingy. Wow. I swear I'm an author, guys. Words are something I use all the time. Wow. Thing. Yeah, thing. We're just gonna say thing. Yeah. Hmm. If you ever do AG9, don't let Gothy get too skinny. I like voluptuous women. I mean, even at the end of AG8, she's not a twig. She is still a well-rounded woman. Would you consider AR as slice of life? Was having to debate with another author last week, and I'm curious how you categorize. I categorize all my series as slice of life. It shows the going on of the characters. It's not just jumping from frying pan to frying pan, putting out danger, killing a dark lord, trying to save the world. People complain about AR for the simple fact that it is slice of life. The fact that, oh my God, he could have cut half this book out if he just stopped talking about the fact that they're going to class and there's moments where they're interacting with another student. He's dragging the pace of the book down. This series should be way faster than this. I write slice of life. You're going to see the life of a character. If I timestamp, it's because there is enough normalcy of a schedule that I feel okay jumping that and then bringing you back in when I think there is something else you should know going on. So I say all of my series are slice of life. So I love both super OP fantasy and slice of life, but I'm weird. I like the pace of AR. It makes for a relaxing read for the most part. It's the way it's supposed to be. At the moment, Greg is just slowly building things up. He's not trying to change the world at the moment. Odin steps through the gate in Minnesota Viking in Minnesota and says, "Great, I had to deal with a Sean asshole, and now this." Small question for AR: will you be providing a description of Yuki's meeting with Gunnar and the others from Alturas? Um, will she mention in a letter what happened? Maybe. Will I dedicate a chapter to her showing up? No. I will stay with Gregory. You will hear about what happened with everyone else either via letter, via when they get pulled in for a dream, or when they meet back up. I try not to run multiple points of views for a series. If I deviate off the main character's point of view, it's normally for a couple of paragraphs to provide insight to something. And the main character was recently there. He was just there and left. Normally, is how it goes. Sean stepping out of the room to heal someone, and his wives having a brief conversation about the relationship is fine to me. A whole chapter of Fiona micromanaging the household in the background, not gonna happen. Are the meth cats like Elf on the Shelf? I mean, both are fairly creepy in my opinion, so I'm gonna say yes. I love to enter angel giveaways, but I am a reader, not a writer. Um, yeah, it normally those are just, hey, tell who's your who is your favorite love interest in the harem? Tell me why. And as long as you could give something like, I've always loved um, uh, plump plus sized women, and Gothi is just the right kind of kink for me, I accept it as an answer. So it's not like I'm looking for uh, an essay on you comparing people. Normally, the more that you give me to work with, the more that might get me to favor your answer over somebody else. Might give you an edge to being chosen, but you should always enter. And as long as you follow the rules, you still have a chance. England has sweets, but it's not known for tasty food. I mean, the way you describe fantasy sci-fi book reminds me of the Innkeeper books by Ileana Andrew. I don't know them, Dreas, so what was your favorite AG book so far? The first one, because it sets character, it sets tone. I like that we know who Alvin and Gothia are by the end of the first book. I want more AR slice of life, not less, and that's where I am, Magnus. That's why I don't listen to what people write. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. I'm going to tell you what my story tells me. If that's not what you like, then feel free to put it down and move on. And if you do like it, great, stay with me. Yeah, Rob, it's not the fact that you're, diving from disaster to disaster trying to keep up with things. There's nothing wrong with letting your characters have a little bit of peace in their life. Even Sean fighting shadow wars with government agents, basically, which is what's coming down. He's in deep in politicking. It's still not. Oh my God, we have to put out this fire right now. Okay, well, we're also making fire extinguishers. Why? Because uh, greetings, oh great round one. I miss the pink-haired pixie in the background. It's blue now. I think she's leaned in. We'll find out here in a couple of
Here,
seconds.
there.
Yeah, it's just a matter of whether it takes the camera a minute to catch up. I think it's like a full minute behind. See, there you are. See, she had now blue, blue. Do you think Sean's best friend will get pulled into the new world by the end of the book? By the end of the series, I'm assuming you mean, Ryan. We will find out. Everyone, Greg finished AR6 with his squad of 31 soldiers. Rafik, over under that he has more people with him by the end of AR7. I mean, with the way Greg normally goes, I chose Skippy, Skippy, and Skippy. I don't know why I didn't get chosen. Uh, I can't wait for Greg dodging Arms Masters in the next couple of books. That actually wasn't covered and reminds me of a question. Do the laws governing a cap of owned slaves work differently, not apply to Magi? Is it ranked based? Will Greg have repercussions for owning too many slaves? Yes, it is vastly different between Magi and not Magi. As most rule systems in most places have shown us, the rules between the haves and have-nots are vastly different. Mr. Innkeeper's limit based on who he was, friends he did not have, and so on and so forth, vastly different than what a Magi's are. Magi's are a little more intensive because it comes down to, well, there's a lot of factors in play there that might or might not get mentioned in the next book. Uh, got to get off. My head hurts too much. No problem, McKnight. Make sure to check back later to see if you're one of the winners, though. Okay, man. I have caught up to the end, folks, and we are 2 hours in. Okay. Everyone, thank you for coming to the live chat. We have caught up. We have done 2 hours. I feel good here. So, next month, the 15th, it is going to be a Wednesday. It is going to be 3 p.m. Pacific time. That is when we will do the February live chat. By then, the book um, Antecedent's Legacy would have been out almost a month. I hope to have really good news about how it did. Um, it's really going to depend on the fan base. I really hope everyone loves it and it doesn't Resurrection Quest on me. Please, please don't let it do that. I have so much I want to do with this series because it's been so much fun. The first two books were a blast to write. The only reason I didn't dive straight into book three when I finished book two with my free time was because I wanted to know how the series was going to be accepted by people before I did. So, can I admit that I have Flopsy sticking with Aetherguard in some capacity? Um, so I hope to have good news about how Antecedent's Legacy has been doing come the February live chat. By then, we will also probably have news about Andy having recorded AR6 or starting to record AR6. So please stay with us. By then, we should hopefully also have Binding Words 9 audio with you guys, but that'll be up to ACX. So stay tuned. If you updates on how things are going, guys, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, all places to find out. So my monthly blog has links to everything. I try to remember to add that at the end of every month, just in case. So until next time, guys, you have a good one and stay safe. We're hoping the 2023 breaks the trend of the 20s decade for us. Talk to you later.